put a lid on runaway data we speak to our clients. So the amount of data being stored, protected by any organization is exploding like never before. So are the costs to manage it and the valuable resources that are being diverted to control and administer data growth is the primary challenge. Through this webinar, we would like to discuss the best practice to manage enterprise data growth and how IBM's product called Optin can help you to overcome these challenges of data growth effectively. First, a little bit of housekeeping. We would want to ensure that we are addressing all the main topics of the webinar as well as all your queries. You can post your queries at any time using the GoToWebinar control panel. I repeat, GoToWebinar control panel, and we would be addressing these queries at the end of the session. Also, this webinar would be recorded and will be hosted on s2it.com in the coming few days. So first, let us learn a little bit more about today's speaker. Ms. Manisha Shetty has been with S2it for the last 4 years, working as a senior consultant on information lifecycle management and security products like Optin, Discovery, Application Repository Analyzer, and Federation Server. So she has been part of a team which has globally engaged with few of our clients on implementation of Optin. Today's agenda would be to understand the challenges of data growth. How do you handle data growth and how data archiving helps manage data, and finally, as mentioned previously, why IBM's product Optin is best suited for enterprise archiving. Let me give you a brief background about S2it before starting the webinar. We started our operations 11 years back in the US in the year 2005. We started out as an Oracle partner and service provider, and I'm very proud to say that today we are not just a partner of Oracle, but also of IBM, HP, Zora, and Informatica as well, to name a few. Globally, we are headquartered in Sunnyvale, California, with offices in New Jersey and a presence in Boston in the US. And we do have global offices in Canada, in the United Kingdom to take care of your European operations, Dubai, and India. India operates as an offshore and support hub for majority of the projects we are involved in globally. We have an employee strength of nearly 500 plus and certified professionals for all the client engagements across North America, Europe, APAC, Middle East, Africa, and India as well. The 4 major service lines that we cater to are information lifecycle management and data security, product engineering, big data and business intelligence, and finally enterprise applications and technology. So these are the 4 major service lines which S2it is engaged and involved with clients globally. We have had 200 plus engagements globally on data management and archival, and we have successfully done it through a wonderful tool called Optin. Now, Optin, as I mentioned, is a data archival tool from IBM, and we are happy to inform that our major Optin engagements have come through client reference. So we decided that we shall go ahead, host this webinar, and try to educate all of you with whom we have been in touch on this fantastic tool which has given great results for our clients. So with this, I'll be handing it over to Manisha to take you through the Optin presentation. Manisha, over to you.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. I'm Manisha. Firstly, I would like to welcome everyone to this webinar. And today, I'm going to talk about one of the major IT challenges, that is data growth and its consequences, and how IBM Optin tool is going to address the challenge.
Sorry for the delay. Slight technical hiccup. We'll just start the presentation in a minute. Challenges of data growth effectively. As I said, we would be addressing the main topics of the webinar as well as your questions. Once again, for all your information, you could post any questions at any time during the webinar using the GoToWebinar control panel, and we will be addressing these queries at the end of the session. Also, this webinar would be recorded and hosted on s2a.com in the coming few days. For information lifecycle management and security products like Optin, Discovery, and Federation Server. She has been involved in a lot of projects on the Optin side. And today's agenda would be to understand the challenges of data growth, how archiving helps manage data, and finally why Optin is best suited for enterprise archiving. I had given you a brief about S2A before we started the presentation. We started in the US 11 years back. We have global presence in India, Canada, US, UK, and Dubai. And our partners not just of Oracle, but with IBM, HP, Zuora, and Informatica as well. We do have an employee strength of 500, and we have 35 professionals on all the products of all the companies that I mentioned above. And we have client engagements across North America, Europe, APAC, Middle East, and Africa as well. So we have done 200 plus engagements globally on data management and archival, and successfully done it through a wonderful tool. Now, Optin is a data archival tool from IBM, as I mentioned, and we are happy to inform that our major engagements on Optin have been through client referrals. So we decided to host this webinar and try to educate all of you with whom we have been in touch about this fantastic tool. And once again, I'll hand it over to Manisha to take you through the presentation. Thank you, Manisha.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. I'm Manisha, and firstly I would like to welcome everyone to this webinar. And today I'm going to talk about one of the major IT challenges, that is data growth, its consequences, and how IBM Optin tool is going to address this challenge. As an organization, we have come across situation multiple times where the users face poor performance while using the application. There would be multiple reasons for this. One of the major reasons would be the huge volume of data in a production environment. And to manage huge volume of data, more storage space will be required. As and when day-to-day business transaction increases, the requirement for the storage space also increases. Maintenance of these huge data is expensive. And in case of DBA, it would take more time to maintain such a huge volume of data. And the reason for all these problems would be the rapid data growth in the database. Now let me talk about data growth and how organizations face challenges due to rapid data growth in their production environment. Data growth is a process wherein data in the databases grow rapidly on day-to-day basis because of various transactions. It is important for an organization to manage their data in an effective way. Today, organizations who fail to manage their data effectively are facing many challenges with their critical applications. And some of the challenges are common degradation in their production applications, increased storage space, which in turn increases the maintenance cost, and also it consumes more time during application of the data, applying patches or cloning the network. Organization can overcome these challenges by the best solution, that is data archiving. Moving to the next slide. Data archiving is an intelligent process for segregating inactive historical from production environment into a cheaper storage devices by maintaining referential integrity and also providing the future access to the archived data. Data archiving solution can help to resolve the major issues which we discussed in the previous slide. By archiving the inactive historical data, we can achieve optimized performance in the application side. By doing this, business can meet the service level agreements consistently and accelerate the delivery of revenue generating applications. Even though the inactive data is archived, still the business users can accurately respond to audit requests or e-discovery requests. And by doing this archiving solution, we can achieve reduction in infrastructure and also reduction in the storage space cost. Now let us understand how data archiving is going to help the business. Let us consider a production database with a huge volume of data, both inactive and active data in it. Once we perform data archival for the active data in the production database, all the inactive data will be archived and stored in the archive system. And these inactive data in the archive database can also be restored back to production whenever required, either entirely or just a subset of the data. We can also access the archive data using application or through reporting tools. Now comes the market-leading product for the data archiving is IBM Optin. Let me brief you about the IBM Optin tool. Organization can leverage IBM Optin tool to address the IT challenge like data growth, for which the solution is provided by Optin. That is the core topic for today's discussion. Along with database solution, Optin also provides the solution like test data management, where it provides the realistic subset of the test data which can be used for testing purposes or speed up the testing processes. And it also helps the business to provide high quality testing results. Optin also provides data privacy solutions where it meets PCI and PII compliances and where it manages the sensitive and confidential information like credit card number, customer information, and other PII information by masking them. Optin also helps in retiring the legacy application by providing the data decommissioning solution. Now let us understand the importance of data archiving and why data archiving is better than data backup. You might have a question that we do have a practice of taking the backup. So why should we opt for data archiving? Data archiving and data backup both are different entities and their approaches are different. In data backup, as it is a copy of the original system, it keeps everything. It includes the components like the versions, interface changes, customization changes, etc. Whereas in our data archiving, we keep only what is required, mostly for the future use like auditing or e-discovery requests. It's self-contained data. In case of backup, as it copies everything, it is a complete data model, and we will be having dependencies on IT teams like system admins, DBAs, etc. Whereas in data archiving, it is just the data model for business objects, and we do not have any dependencies on IT teams. In data backup approach, the restore of the archive data would be very expensive. Whereas in data archive, the restore of the archive data is very easy way. Now let us take a look at the enterprise architecture of Optin. This slide mainly talks about the Optin's compatibility with different operating systems, different databases, different storage servers and applications. Optin is compatible with operating systems like Windows, Solaris, Linux, AX, etc. Once Optin performs the archival, the archived data can be stored in cheaper storage devices like NAS, SAN, optical disk, tape, etc. Optin also supports all the market-leading database software like Oracle, SQL Server, Sybase, Informix, etc. Along with database solution, Optin also provides solutions for test data management, data privacy, application retirement, etc. So Optin can implement its solution across all the enterprise packages, all the customized developed applications, and Estimate has out-of-box solution for Oracle E-Business, PeopleSoft, JD Edwards, and Siebel CRM. We do develop the archival solution, test data management solution, and masking solution for customized developed applications, package applications, and also enterprise applications. Thus, IBM Optin tool is an integrated modular environment to manage the application data from requirements to retirement across heterogeneous environments. This slide mainly depicts a real-time implementation of Optin. Optin deals with the client-server architecture. Optin client is installed and configured in workstation where the archive request is triggered. And Optin server takes care of purging the inactive historical data from different non-production databases. Once Optin archives the data, the archived data will be stored in a compressed, immutable binary file which we call as archive file. These archive files can be loaded into different non-productional data as per requirement. And it can be also loaded to archive databases. Archive files can also be restored back to production databases whenever required as per the requirement of audits or e-discovery requests. We can access the archived data through applications or reporting tools like Crystal Report, Cognos, etc. Optin has a feature to provide the access for archived data by directly connecting to the archive file. And the archived data from the archive files can also be loaded to desktop file formats like MS Excel, SQL, XML documents, etc. Moving to the next slide. This slide mainly talks about automating the archival process. Here we can see we have different categories where we have split into the data into different categories. In current data, where the current year's data and the previous year's data resides in the production database. The rest of the data would be the ideal data for archival. Once the data reaches 3 to 4 years of criteria, then we can store these data in tier 2 storage devices like SAN, NAS. And once the data reaches 4 to 6 years of criteria, the data can be moved into tier 2 or 3 storage devices like Centera, IBM RS550. And once the data reaches 7+ years of criteria, then it is the ideal candidate for purging. Before purging, we can still retain the access to these data for 2 to 3 years by storing this data in offline storage devices like optical disk or tapes. The compression rate, the archive data would be saved in the archive file with a compression rate of 75% to 95%. Now let's just look into the real-time business scenario for implementing the data archival solution. Let us assume we have 3 production databases One is CRM system, which resides in Unix environment with Oracle database. The other is order entry, which resides in ZOS environment with DB2 database. And the third one with accounting entries, which resides in Linux environment with DB2 databases. If we consider to archive a particular customer, the Optin is capable of picking up the customer's information in CRM production database and choose its related database transactional data from the other two databases, that is accounting receivable and order entries. We can archive data from these three databases by maintaining the data referential integrity. And Optin makes sure that we can access all the data from all these three databases. Now let us talk about complete business object. Now we talk as an expert, we make sure that we think in all the user perspectives. For example, in case of DBA, we make sure the data which we archive are referentially intact. In case of business, we make sure that all the historical data have the referential integrity with the historical reference snapshot of the business activity. And the data might be spread across different databases like Oracle, DB2, Sybase. So we make sure that Optin is able to access all these databases, data from all these databases. Now comes the complete business object with an example. Let us take an example of financial module, that is general ledger. And the transactional data would, like GL batches and GL lines, that would be eligible for archival, are highlighted in yellow color. And to maintain the referential integrity, we might archive some of the data which are highlighted in green and purple color. And there are some data which are not which need not be part of this archival solution, will be in the blue color. Now let us talk about one of the interesting concepts in data archiving, that is universal access. Optin feature to access the archive data in two ways. One is native application access and the other one is application independent access. In native application access, Optin allows the user to view the data from both production and archive database in their familiar screens. In application independent access, Optin allows the end users to directly query the archive data using the standard methods like SQL, ODBC, JDBC, etc. It also provides the facility to access the archive data through reporting tools like Crystal Reports, Cognos, Business Objects, etc. And also through desktop formats like Excel, CSV, MS Access, etc. Thus, Optin provides universal access to the archive data anytime, anywhere by authenticating the user. Now let me illustrate you a scenario where a production environment has around 500 GB of data, and considering around 5 different production and non-production environments in an organization for different business purposes like training, unit tests, system tests, the total space it would require is 3 TB. Once, if we implement the data archival on the production environment and considering around 300 GB of inactive data, then the total size of the production would reduce to 200 GB and the total size of whole database would reduce to 1 TB, that is 60% reduction in storage space. Now let's move on to the advantage of data archiving. By leveraging Optin data archiving solutions, organizations can improve the application performance of the mission critical applications and thus meet the service level agreements. It will control the storage cost by archiving the data, which in turn reduce the maintenance cost. Time taken for cloning, upgradations, applying patches, etc. will be reduced. We can access the archive data easily for any audits or e-discovery requests. This slide represents the Optin user interface for browsing the archive data using Browse utility. As you can see here, many customers are getting extreme service from S2A. These customers who are getting benefit from Optin solutions belong to different domains like financial domain, insurance, in chemical industry, etc. These are some of the feedbacks given by the customers.
Thank you, Manisha. Pretty impressive. Thank you very much for the good insight on the data growth challenges and how it can be met through Optin. We would like to take the questions now. Before going to the questions, a reminder that this webinar will be posted on s2a.com in the upcoming days. And of course, after the webinar, in case if you have any further queries, inquiries, clarifications, you can email us at sales@s2a.com. I repeat, sales@s2a.com. There have been a few questions which have come when Manisha was presenting. Give you another 60 seconds or so to put out your questions if you have any. We'll just pause for about 60 seconds. If you have any queries, you can just put it through GoToWebinar control panel, and we will take it up in a minute. Please put up your questions on GoToWebinar control panel if you have any. As I mentioned, we'll be taking up the questions in about a minute's time. Okay, Manisha, so can we take the questions now?
Yes.
So there's a question from one of the participants who says, how secure is the archive data present in the archive files? So could you just throw some light on that?
Yes. In Optin, we do have a concept of archival security, wherein we can access or give a permission for a particular user or role to a particular table or column, where it allows only for those particular users to access the data or view the data.
Right, and there's a secondary question from the same participant. He asks, does Optin support ZOS also?
Yes, Optin supports ZOS also.
ZOS as well?
Yeah.
Again, there is a additional question. Any support to MySQL? Does
Yes,
Optin
it
support
supports
MySQL?
through Federation Server.
Okay, if you can throw some light. So what is you said Federation Server? So it's what is
Federation Server is like a middleware which we use. It supports DB2. We install it, configure it, and it reads the MySQL content database, and then it connects with the Optin.
Okay, okay, fantastic. Now, can Optin be used to archive flat files? And the same gentleman has asked, does Optin have any inbuilt utility to browse the data?
Yeah, Optin has inbuilt utility to browse the data. We have it in the Optin installation only. We can get that utility, and then Optin can be used for flat file. Yeah, we can use for Optin for flat file also. That is again through using the Federation Server.
Okay, okay. Now, one participant has the question, does Optin support unstructured data? If yes, fine. If not, what would be the alternative solution?
Okay, Yeah, Optin supports unstructured data. That is also again through Federation server.
Which is again a middleware as
Yeah.
you had mentioned. All right. Can we archive data from two separate databases simultaneously?
Yeah, it is possible.
Simultaneously.
Yes.
So you say that's possible. Okay. Then we do have one more question. Does Optin work for the pharma industry? And what is the size of the archive files?
Size of the archive. It depends upon how much data we archive it.
Okay.
Basically, it supports any industry. Most of the industry often supports, as we have seen in that customer services. And the file of the archive file depends upon how much data we archive of that particular archive request.
Okay. So effectively, you mean to say that it could be any industry. If it's data, Optin could be used in that particular industry. It's not industry specific.
No.
So Optin could be used everywhere.
Yes.
Right? Fantastic. Let me just check. And there's one more query question which says how blob clob data archival is handled using Optin. BLOB and CLOB data archival is handled using Optin.
Optin is considered is as a normal column.
Okay.
Job and clock.
Okay. So that's the way it's handled. So
yeah.
It could be handled using Optin. Fine. Fine. I think these were primarily the questions that we did have. The response in terms of the queries have been pretty good. Any further queries? If you have any further queries again, please post it on GoToWebinar control panel. If not, we would be ending the webinar. All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for registering yourself and being part of the webinar hosted on Optin by S2it. Again, as I mentioned, we will be uploading this webinar on s2it.com. And if you do have any queries, please mail it to sales@s2it.com. Thank you once again. Looking forward to be connected with all of you. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.